afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the Cedarfield family. This is our live chat here for Thursday, March 26th. I hope this message finds you well, no matter where you are. We have two special guests today. We have Dr. Amy Shear and Ann Hopper, our Wellness RN clinic, that will be up here in a couple of moments. But before we go into that, I just wanted to talk about a new term. So we're going to talk about this new term, and then Dr. Shear and Ann will be here for about 20 minutes or so, and then I'm going to provide some more updates about services and amenities around the campus. So we keep talking about flattening the curve. You hear flattening the curve as you're watching the news. We've been talking about flattening the curve here at Cedarfield. And amidst all of the calls for flattening the curve, it talks about social distancing, the most powerful tool that we have as human beings to slow the spread of COVID-19. But one important fact is getting lost with this term, social distancing. We are fundamentally social beings, and social distancing can carry a very heavy psychological price tag. This is particularly true for people who live on their own, who don't have a spouse. But we all struggle with the emotional impact of isolation and its first cousin, loneliness. The growing recognition that social distancing carries psychological and physical health risks has led to a growing call to change the term of social distancing to physical distancing. I just heard it last night. The Washington Post reported it, and it's a recognition that we need a greater physical distance between people, not social. And so when I heard this term, I was like, wow, this is really important. I want to get the message out to the residents. So as you continue, hopefully you're watching less of the news and concentrating on your 9 domains of well-being. But when you're tune into the news tonight or over the next couple of days ahead, you're going to start to hear this term in replace of social distancing called physical distancing, which is the same thing that we have been doing here for the last 2 weeks. Just a little turn of vocabulary. The idea is good. Let's focus on the physical contact while maintaining, to the best extent possible, social connections that help drive us and keep us thriving and staying healthy. Let's protect ourselves psychologically as well as physically while doing everything we possibly can to slow down the spread of this virus and flatten the curve. This new term, as I just mentioned, was mentioned in the Washington Post yesterday. There's a couple of professors over at Northwestern University, along with the World Health Organization, that are spreading this term today. And so I just want to remind everyone that while Pinnacle Living in Cedarfield continues our diligent efforts to maintain a safe and healthy environment for our residents and our team members, our visitors, our guests that are allowed on property, we want to stress we cannot stress enough the importance of maintaining contact with families and friends while maintaining a physical distance from everyone, not just those who have been exposed and or are at risk. There are many other contagious words that I think we're losing sight of around the world. Kindness. Kindness is a very contagious word, and a great example of that when Tom Maxwell helped our community through the Kindness Challenge all of last year. It was very contagious. So there are some words that are very contagious that we should take advantage of. Kindness and understanding, lending a hand. It's now time. There's no better time than now to check on friends, to check on loved ones near and far, through physical distancing to make sure that those folks are heard, that they're not lonely, and that they know that they have a friend out there or a loved one. So you're going to hear this term often in the next couple of days, and I wanted to provide you some clarity on that term. I just want to remind everybody that if you haven't heard, there's a lot of current news happening within a 5-mile radius. And as much as we are preparing our plans and have been putting in precautionary measures, this invisible virus is really everywhere. It's a community-wide virus. I hope you are keeping in your prayers a couple of those retirement communities and or nursing homes that are in our local market that are struggling right now. Please keep them in your prayers. They need us more than ever right now. They're just right down the road. Perhaps some of you know somebody that are living there. So I would just encourage you to keep them in your prayers. It's important that every single one of us is practicing physical distancing to keep yourself safe and to keep everyone else safe. I know there's a lot of sadness out there. We are not telling you you have to stay in your apartment. I want you to walk around as best you can, get outside. For those of you that are living in the cottages, you have it easier than the people who are in the assisted living community, the health center, or memory support. Those of you that are in independent living apartments, please get outside. Please walk the halls. This virus is not everywhere. It's on places that we touch, and that human exchange is where you can pick up the virus. It's not everywhere. You can get out and walk. People are isolating a little, maybe too conservatively at Cedar Field now. So I'm glad that we have that word out. But I'm also focused on the downward decline, especially as it relates to isolation. So with that in mind, I'm going to turn over the mic to Dr. Amy Shear and Ann Hopper, who will provide the next 15-20 minutes with some discussion about what we know and what services are available here at Cedar Field.
Well, hello. So I'm Dr. Amy Shear, and this is Ann Hopper. Good to see you today. Great to see you. We thought we would do a little question and answer time, so we want to live chat. Send any questions that you may have or have questions about in, and we will try and address those as they come. So, next slide. So, we want to start off by saying that this is a very fluid disease where our information is coming in and changing quite rapidly. So unfortunately, that leaves a lot of misinformation out there, as well as actually valid information that in a day or two becomes invalid. So it can create a lot of confusion, and we want to help to do everything we can to shed light on that.
All right. So what we do want to at least ask some questions right now to you, Dr. Shear, before some residents might phone in some questions. And the number is posted right below your name. So my first question is, why won't my primary care physician see me?
So right now, the CDC as well as the Virginia Department of Health are urging that all of us as providers limit, especially our older population's exposure to the outside world. Just as much as we can, keep people out of sick waiting rooms and reschedule routine appointments we want to be doing. We also want to take anyone that has symptoms that could be associated and tell them to stay at home and not bring them into our waiting rooms to, potentially cause problems with other patients. So in general, we're really limiting the patients that we see face-to-face right now, and that's really for our, for everyone's safety as well as your own safety. Again, it's just as much that we can do to limit this from ever coming into Cedarfield or keeping it contained when it's here is what we need to be practicing right now. So that's one of the reasons why you may be calling your primary care doctor, and normally they would see you in the office, and at this time they're not. They're saying stay at home, we'll reschedule, or they're encouraging you to call and reschedule your appointments.
Well, that makes sense, and I think that's good practice. So that leads into the next question. What is telemedicine, which I imagine you need to do something to see the residents with their concerns?
Yes, that's a very good question, and actually, yes. So in my practice and in several other doctors' practices, we're starting to do something called telemedicine, which means that we're using our smart devices, your iPhones, your computers, your iPads, in order to get a face-to-face visit, but across, a screen. So that way you're still within the safety of your own environment, not creating any new exposures with transportation or with waiting rooms, and at the same time still able to answer your questions, be able to call in medications for you, be able to see you and take care of you in that way. Even, the CDC and the government has, CMS has recognized and really liberalized that for us as physicians, whereas we used to have our hands tied and could only do it in certain situations. They've opened that up in a response to the growing need to be able to continue to do our day-to-day visits, but without creating that extra exposure and keeping the spread of this down.
So if you're not at Cedarfield, can you still see a resident with this telemedicine?
Yes, we can. So we can do it from anywhere. So if, and even your doctor may be going, some of us are going completely to just telemedicine in order to help, potentiate, keep that exposures down. So yes, 7 days a week we are available by telemedicine, just like we used to do for calls. So we can take telemedicine visits any day. And for our office, you would just call the number that you normally do for AD Senior, and then we would call you we give you a text message, you click on it, and it's simple from there. We've practiced it with Ann as well, and we've actually set Ann up so that even in the clinic, they can do visits with the nurse as well. So again, as many people that don't have to come into your apartment to see you, or you have to come out to see them, the better it is.
Okay, that sounds great. And then how do I go about scheduling a follow-up visit or a consultation with my primary care doctor, or maybe I need to see a specialist?
So that's a very good point. I've actually called around to, I know the pulmonary associates and some of the neurologists around here, because I as well have patients that, I'm not a specialist in neurologic disorders, and sometimes I'm needing guidance in what to do, and yet their follow-up appointments have been canceled. So I actually found out that they too are opening up for telemedicine. So they have where you can call, like you would call the nurse's office, and then they will get your information and call you back via telemedicine. And so that's really opening up our capability of getting that advice and getting those visits in without having to create unnecessary exposures.
Well, that's really helpful. Another question is, how do I get my refills for medications?
So that's another really good point. So we do have refills that are due, that are routine. Most doctors are, normally we would see you and give those to you in the office, but now we're calling those in, or we're faxing in scripts. I do think that if you're able to use pharmacy delivery, that would be another time that you can decrease your exposure. So instead of waiting in line at Kroger or Walmart, where there's lots of other people around that you could potentiate, that may not even know that they have symptoms, but do have, the virus and could potentially spread it, limiting that as much as possible and being creative in that, now is the time to do it. And we could always, you could always go back to how you were doing it before or after. But for now, I think it's a good idea to try and utilize, remedy pharmacy or, what we have available here for delivery.
And then also they can still use mail order.
Yes,
Is that correct?
yes. And mail orders are still going through. Again, your doctors are still getting those requests for refills. So we'll continue to kind of, refill those scripts as needed. Yeah.
So it looks like we had another question back to that telemedicine. What if someone one of the residents doesn't have a cell phone?
So if you don't have a cell phone, we still have ability to do that phone call visit and still count it as a visit and still give advice and, potentially if you need medications or medications changes, we can do that over the phone and document that still as a visit even without having, but it is nice to be able to see, your doctor on the screen talking to you and be able to but in lieu of not having that smart technology, that is available.
And then also some people can use a tablet or a computer if they have that. But if you don't have any of those electronic devices,
A simple phone call.
a landline.
Yes,
Okay.
can also work.
Perfect. Here's a good one. Why can't I see my loved one in assisted living or healthcare?
So, this is a common question, and it's a difficult one because while we want to be very sensitive to again not feeling isolated, and this can be a huge issue with isolation is not being able to have what we're used to with contact. But again, if the policies that are put in place are in order to prevent spread and keeping, our very high-risk population as healthy and as, minimized contact as possible, we need to be doing that. And that's a recommendation from the Virginia Department of Health. It's a recommendation from the American Geriatric Society what has happened in Washington and in California, and getting advice from those doctors and those facilities and how they kind of, the practices they put in place, seems to, and we are in line with those in our policies as far as also, checking temperatures of those coming onto campus,
Right.
and turning people away, as well as really not having visitors.
Right. So that goes into the next one. Why can't my family come to see me?
Yes, and that's, again, we want to try and do as much as possible to keep that relationship as strong as possible. Your children are worried about you just as much as you're worried about them. So, what we're encouraging right now is to try and get availability of that smart technology to even get you on video chats with your loved ones. And the same goes for, we're getting very creative in healthcare as to how to get people to lay eyes on without having that direct contact with, so that we can kind of keep that feeling and trust too, because now is a time that there can be a lot of distrust with what we're doing, and I just want to go back to everything that's being put in place is really because it's for your safety and the safety of everyone here, and it's what's recommended and what we unfortunately need to be doing right now, and it's going to cause us all to have some sacrifices.
Mm-hmm. Right. And I guess if they can see each other on that other screen, it's a little bit of a comfort.
Yeah, and it helps a lot with anxiety. I think that this can be an extremely anxious time period. So, for your children to be able to see you, it creates a sense of calm for them. So I would say, as much as you can, they want to be seeing you as much as you want to be seeing them right now. So.
Okay. Here's one. What signs and symptoms should I be watching out for?
So again, so the three that we're looking at is going to be, temperatures, shortness of breath, and respiratory symptoms, as well as kind of flu-like symptoms. The caveat to that is we have a lot of patients and a lot of residents here that have underlying medical conditions, a lot of COPD, a lot of congestive heart failure, a lot of allergies this time of year, and so those can also cause feelings, some low-grade temperatures and some cough and congestion. So not all cough and congestion is coronavirus, and we need to make sure that we're all taking a breath when we start to see these. But it is important that if you're having any respiratory symptoms or fevers, that you are calling the clinic, because we do want to monitor that, and we may even put isolation in place. That does not mean that we're suspecting COVID. It just means that we want to watch for those symptoms more closely.
Right. So if a resident's baseline was short of breath, how would they know that they're in trouble?
Right. So it's going to be, if you want to look at what is normal for you this time of the year, and it needs to be a change from that. It should not be your normal shortness of breath. You don't need to call the office for it or call the clinic for it. But if there's been a change, if all of a sudden you can't get a deep breath, that's abnormal for you. We want to know. Or if you normally have a low grade temperature, you do not have to call. But if you're starting to have higher temperatures, then you want to call.
Okay, great. This is a great one. When should I go to the hospital? I know I do usually go over and help the resident call 911. Their question is, when do I go to the hospital and how am I being protected?
Right, so this is an interesting time period because right now, we're trying to prevent any unnecessary hospitalizations even more so, but then that is creating a fear of going in. The thing is that people are still having strokes. strokes, and we're still having heart attacks, and we're still having, things that need to go into the hospital, and we shouldn't be so afraid to go to the hospital that we're not getting what needs to be looked at. So I want to say that the hospitals are very diligent in, taking those that are coming in for things that are not associated with the 3 symptoms, and they do have different waiting rooms, and they're getting them into rooms that are not, quote, sick rooms. And really, anybody that's got symptoms, they're being fast-tracked into isolation areas. So your regular emergency room, although we're not wanting you to go in if you don't have to go in, at the same time, they're not, they're not being overrun right now. So, we do want to, if we're telling you that you need to go into the hospital, it's because you probably do need to go into the hospital, and you shouldn't be afraid of that.
Right, and then I also know that when the rescue squad comes in, the EMTs will end up, they will be their protective equipment, and they will also put something on the resident.
Yes, and that's another thing too, to realize that the way things have been are different from the way things are now. So the fact that, you may be seeing if EMS arrives, they're full garbed up, doesn't mean that the resident they're taking out has any symptoms or anything. It just means that that's kind of become their practice. So again, kind of, take a deep breath. I mean, this is also, they're trying to do what they can to protect, everyone. So they don't know what they're walking into a lot of times, so they're going to have a standard of, extra masks, extra gowns, that kind of thing, just to make sure. So.
Okay. So we're starting to get some questions in. The first one is, what is the time frame for a return phone call for the telemed if someone needed to be seen?
Okay, so in our practice, when you call our, Courtney, as most of you know, will be answering our phones. She's going to set up, and just like you would a normal office visit.
Okay.
So it may be the following day, or it may be an hour or two from then. It just depends on the availability of, what our clinic looks like, our telemedicine.
Right. And then also, would you say based on the symptoms too? It could be?
Yes.
What
So
symptoms
if they're
are
very concerning, then we're going to call that much sooner than if it's, hey, I need a refill, or I wanted to talk to you about, a chronic issue. That may be, okay, well, we'll call you back in a day or two, or we're going to call you back at 11:30 on Wednesday, or what have you. Just very similar to what you would do if you were to call the office for an appointment.
Okay. And then you would also be in touch with the clinic too, if something were going on.
Yes.
If you wanted us to do something, like
Right.
we can have dynamic mobile still come in from
Right,
us, right?
yeah, so if there's x-rays that are needed or labs that are needed, then we'll be doing that. I believe there's
Another question. Okay, so we have this one. If a resident is determined to be asymptomatic of COVID-19, will they be able to stay in their residence?
So if they have no symptoms of COVID, then yes, they would stay. I guess I'm not understanding the question.
Unless I'm thinking that they have some symptoms of a respiratory infection.
So so we are putting more people in general, somebody that has a cough or any symptoms, we may be recommending isolation but not doing it for the full 14 days because that person didn't have any further symptoms, or it was for example, allergy or a regular just a slight temperature that sometimes your temperature can fluctuate.
Right.
And as long as there was no other concerning symptoms, we would then take them off of isolation. So it may be that they're just on isolation for a day or two, or for a couple of days, and then come off. And that's because they didn't show those signs.
Okay, so this is an interesting one. What about a resident who has a mild case of COVID-19? Can can they stay in their residence?
So, in general, if you do have concerning symptoms but are able to maintain at home, then the recommendation from the emergency rooms and the hospitals is that you do, that you treat in place. And that, again, would be a lot of supportive care we want to make sure your number one complication is going to be dehydration. So just like with the flu, we're going to ask that you are able to push those fluids. If you start to decompensate, then we would need to send you into the hospital. But if you're able and have mild symptoms, then we do recommend that you stay at home. And actually that minimizes the spread in general, because if you are staying within your apartment, it is not spreading outside of your apartment.
Right.
And your cottage is the same. So yes, the recommendation is that you do stay at home with
And I have heard that a majority of people are having mild symptoms. We do hear a lot about, the really scary ones that end up right in the hospital.
Yes, so there are quite a few, and I think some of the data from some of the other countries are saying about 80% are able, it's only 20% that are ending up in the hospital, but unfortunately that 20% is the sickest percentage. So when you're talking about the whole world being sick, 20% does overwhelm your hospital. So it does seem like a lot, but the reality is that most people will have low severity of symptoms and will be able to self-isolate and will be able to stay in their apartments and come through this just fine.
Right, and we can help out too here at Cedarfield with sending, whether it's meals or some fluids.
Medications, all of that, whatever you may need for supportive care in order to stay here and to stay out of the hospital, we want to do it.
Okay, here's one, and this is, like you said, fluid, ever-changing. Can we test here for COVID?
So, while there are tests available from the primary care perspective, the problem with that is by doing a nasal swab, you are what we call aerosolizing the virus. So you are taking something that's contained within the nose passage and you're, causing it to go into the air. So at this time, for my practice, we're saying, look, we're not set up to be in negative pressure rooms in order to even get these tests. We're recommending instead that they be, that we're calling the Public Health Department and the Virginia Public Health, and they actually have these things called, you might have seen it on the news, the 10 cities, where they're doing drive-through testing, and that way it's really minimizing, you coming into an office, getting a nasal, getting it aerolized in that office, and that office being shut down, and it's just the exposure of the car that you're in, and then the person testing you has all the appropriate equipment to do that.
Right.
But again, they are asking that you then go home and that you self-isolate at home. So for that is, so far in my practice, the plan that we have right now. Again, fluid, ever-changing. When they come up with a rapid test, if we're able to get everything, that will change. But as it stands right now, we are recommending that to be tested. If you have severe enough symptoms that you need to be tested, that we're doing it through the Department of Public Health.
Okay, and I do know that we have one spot out in the East End in Marina, at Torrey Park, that they are doing those tests. But you do have to, like you said, be screened through your doctor, but we could get a phone number out the next time, maybe Michael's next memo, but that seems like that's down the road for us.
Right, it would be an order from your physician. So it would be, and please know that we have to be very careful about even, we don't want to unnecessarily test at this time. And that more has to do with, if we're able to treat, and if it's a mild case, you may never get tested. And that's okay because you're recovering from it, you're minimizing exposure to others with it by staying in place.
Right.
So, you know, since there's no change in how you would treat somebody with a mild case if they're positive or negative on a test, then, you know, we don't need to be creating extra exposure just to get a test.
Right, and I think at this time, is there any treatment, a formal, like you would get it for the flu, you get Tamiflu?
There's no Tamiflu type treatment, there's no cure. There is supportive medication out there, and again, that is changing all the time. And there are algorithms from some of our university hospitals, and those are being made available to us physicians through, you know, CDC and society pages. So I do, you know, I think all of us have an algorithm, but I'm not recommending treatment unless I know for sure that they're COVID positive. And the reason for that is creating national shortages. You know, we want to make sure that those that have severe disease are being selected to get these experimental treatments, and not those that have mild disease and could just, you know, use some Gatorade and some TLC.
Right, okay. What do you consider a low-grade fever?
So, I was looking at, you know, normally we say 101.4 is a true temperature. So, it really has to do with what your baseline is. So there are people that normally run around 99.6. What we're using in our geriatric society, what I'm hearing from you know, the sources I'm looking at, is we're really kind of looking for 100.2, which is a change from that 101.4. But 100.2 is really where we're saying, okay, now we need to go on isolation, we need to monitor for other symptoms, we need to look at other reasons for a lower temperature.
Oh, right. So we also have thermometers here, and we're using them at the gatehouse. And these are just great because you're not touching anyone's forehead. It gives you a very accurate reading. But if we would see a higher reading, we also have an oral thermometer to test behind that.
Yes, and I want to say, you know, so one of the, you know, when we're looking at symptoms, we do want to say that, you know, for not every resident here has their own thermometer, I know. So, Anne, what are we doing about that?
So that's a good question. We are getting disposable thermometers, and we are going to have a great number of that. The downside to it is you use it once and you throw it out. So I'm sure if we deliver them, someone would think, well, let me check my temperature. So you really have to, we're going to hold on to them in the clinic, and we're going to have that discussion if someone is feeling poorly, really warm, that type of thing. And then we'll get them, exactly, because thermometers are hard to find these days. I've been looking, Amazon, the drugstores, they don't have them. So we can take care of them.
Yeah, we do have enough, but we want to make sure that we're using our resources wisely.
Exactly. And now I have something on our little sheet. We covered a lot about isolation. What are the 3 symptoms that you might isolate for?
So I'm looking for cough, fevers, and then shortness of breath. Those are the 3. And the key one there is not, especially when I'm looking at our American Geriatric Society and those in post-acute long-term care, they're saying that not everyone has a fever response. That really the number one indicator for most of those that are in outbreaks of this is more the shortness of breath. And again, shortness of breath different from your baseline shortness of breath, but kind of rapid respiratory decompensation or respiratory decline. That's a key indicator. But I'm going to screen anything that is abnormal, and probably more so than I would normally do.
Right.
And that's in order to keep you safe and to keep everyone else safe. And anyone support you during, you know, maybe a regular cold. There still is rhinovirus and, you know, RSV and everything else is going around. And it may be that we're just, you know, supporting you through just a regular cold. Well, I want to make sure that everyone going in there to render that support is also masking up those kind of things. So I need to indicate somehow to them to do that.
Right. And this is separate because we talk so much about not going into someone's apartment or cottage. What happens if I fall?
So yes, we also want to make sure that, you know, the normal things that you call the clinic for, that you continue to call the clinic for.
Right.
So we're not gonna, you know, we still will help if you need to press your call button. Now, it may be that they ask you a couple of questions before they rush over, so there may be a little bit that's a little different from what they normally do. So there may be a phone call there to ask, are you pressing because you have fever or cough or shortness of breath, or do you need to come and check on you?
Right.
So we're still responding to that. Again, that person may be wearing a mask when they come in, which is not typically what we were doing prior to this.
Right.
But again, that's in order to kind of help protect you as well as others.
Exactly. And then if we did go over, they didn't answer their phone because it's a single person and they're on the floor, they can't reach the phone, we still might go over to mask because we're just erring on the side of caution.
Exactly. And you don't have to fear that no one will come, because that is, you know, our standard is to come. So,
exactly.
So somebody will respond just the way they always have. It's just if you're known or if you're under isolation and you have one of these symptoms, it may be that they're, you know, not entering or they're leaving something for you. That is kind of our new standard now.
Right. Okay. Any other questions or comments? All right. That's it for now.
This was helpful, and it was.
I guess we're going to do it again.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
We're gonna do it on Tuesday.
Oh, we're going to do it on Tuesday. We're back again.
Oh.
So we'll have our own questions, and then you can text them in again.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, just practicing some sanitation here. Hold on 1 second, please. Very good. Just a couple of other tidbits, lists of services that we are actively engaged in, and/or information that residents and team members need to know. Administratively, our Chief Executive Officer, Chris Henderson, in concert with all of the executive directors around the Commonwealth, gathered this morning. Chris has a new memo that we will be distributing to the residents after this meeting. So those of you that live in the cottages, you will receive this memo in your mailbox. Those of you that live in assisted living, you will receive this memo in your mailbox. Those of you that live in independent living apartments, we will place this memo under your door. So please take some time and to read the memo. Much of it we've discussed here over the last 45 minutes. Again, I just need to let everybody know that if you have been traveling internationally, if you travel to New York, California, Washington, or Florida, I need to know that, especially if you have traveled in the last 14 days, we need to keep an accurate log. The Department of Health is calling me every day for that list, so I would appreciate your cooperation. One thing we've been mentioning about a new norm this week has to do with how do residents receive their mail from the U.S. Postal Office. And we've been discussing a variety of ways, and we think we've come up with the best alternative, and I'm going to need your cooperation. We are modifying this U.S. delivery program for the health and safety of everybody. So we are going to continue with utilizing a U.S. federal post office carrier or an agent to sort the mail in your boxes. We're going to continue that. But the process to retrieve your mail is going to be different. The main reason why the Department of Health wants me to modify this is to keep that whole area clean and sanitized. So this does not affect folks that live in the cottages. What I'm about to say does not affect residents in Sunshine Plaza, assisted living, or the health center. It just affects those of you that live in independent living apartments. When we post this memo from Chris Henderson today, along with that memo is going to be a flyer explaining when every apartment should come down to retrieve their mail. So we want to organize it to make sure that people are not unnecessarily gathering in front of those mailboxes. So you will receive a memo tonight with very specific instructions per your apartment about what time, Monday through Friday, we would like you to come down to retrieve your mail. And I cannot implore and ask enough. Could we please adhere to your time? If you can't make your time today, is it really that important? Can we just get your mail the following day? It will be available 5 days a week. You'll be able to come down, utilize your key, open your box, retrieve your mail, but we need to do it in a very organized way. If there are the rogue residents that want to buck the system, then I'm going to need to shut down this system, this process, and we're going to have to do it ourselves so that we can keep it clean and sanitary, a sanitary process. So Amanda and Georgia and Renee have been working very hard behind the scenes to iron out a very clear way to come down and pick up your mail. Additionally, what we're going to do is, since every resident in independent living will be coming down and checking their mailboxes within a 4-hour period of time, we're going to actually have a table there along with a team member to answer any other additional questions you might have about anything. So, one more thing about packages. The other item that the Department of Health is recommending right now, strongly recommending, actually it's turning to a mandate, is making sure that the cardboard that arrives on our campus is sanitized. So over the last 2 weeks, Eddie's been doing an unbelievable job. I haven't heard one complaint about our process of delivering packages. And so we'll continue with that process, but we're going to sanitize all that cardboard that's coming in before it reaches your apartment. So it may smell a little citrusy one day, might smell a little bit like lemon the following, and it's because we have some disinfectant on that cardboard. One more administrative question or tidbit. The Cedarfield store is open for business. So thank you, Alice Spillman, for your email and several questions. Is the inventory up to the par level that we would like it? And the answer is, we're working on it. James Green and David Stewart have been working very hard with our vendors to stock the store with necessary things that you may need. They received some bulk ordering today, and will receive another bulk order tomorrow. So the store has plenty of items that residents are routinely asking for. Okay, so that's all about administrative. Dining services. It seems like we had a pretty good night last night with our meal delivery. We had 3, we call them mop-up meals, where we really got them wrong. So 3 out of 379 meals is a pretty good ratio. We've learned lessons of why those 3 meals got mixed up. So we're aiming for a 99.9% accuracy rate tonight. Again, just one of the most frequently asked questions continues to be, is the dining services team utilizing the proper personal equipment in the kitchen? And the answer is yes, they are. A few days ago, I showed you pictures of the team members inside the kitchen, and they continue to do so. Transportation, the drop-off supplies program over at Park and Ride on Gaskins and Mainland is working great. Cottage residents took advantage of that. Loved ones of cottage residents took advantage of that program yesterday. We had 12 deliveries. Tomorrow, those of you that have loved ones that live, or those of you that are listening in assisted living, Sunshine Plaza or the health center, and your loved one wants to drop something off for you, tomorrow is your day between 1 and 3 over at Park and Ride. Talked about housekeeping yesterday. Rehab services. You all have, many of you have a great relationship with Beth Hines and KK and Vlad. And now is not the time to discontinue your rehab and pick it back up at a later date whenever we get through this. I cannot ask you enough. I am imploring, please stick with your therapy, whether it's physical therapy, occupational therapy, or speech therapy. Please stick with it. One of the best things that you have available to you at Cedarfield are these therapists. They're part of your family, your network, your village. Beth and Vlad and KK and everybody else in there are doing all that they can to meet your needs in your assisted living apartment, your independent living apartment, or your cottage. So please stick with it. Don't cancel the service. They need you, you need them. And it's a really critical service that we will not be discontinuing anytime soon. Maintenance. For those of you that have Comcast issues, Jack Johnson wanted me to remind you that before you call Comcast, please dial the maintenance department. What we're trying to do is limit the contractors from coming onto the campus. So Jack and his team, they can actually triage the cable issue and then work remotely with that Comcast technician. So please don't call Comcast right now. If we have a widespread issue with Comcast, we will connect with them. Individually, please contact the maintenance department. What time are we? Okay, we're approaching 4 o'clock. So one more thing about team members. I have a lot of questions from residents about what are you doing with all this extra staff now that we're operating a different retirement community? Are we laying people off? What are we doing with all those extra labor hours? Can I even get a discount off my monthly service fee because you're not providing me X? We are reinventing a retirement community right before your eyes. I can assure you that every single team member currently employed at Cedarfield may either be working in their current job description or they are redeployed in a different way within their department or in a completely different area or neighborhood. We are working so hard to reinvent what it means to live at Cedarfield. So we're not laying anybody off. And in my opinion, we're not actually reducing scope of services. We're actually rapidly reinventing how to keep you safe and to protect you because of this virus around the world. And so please rest assured that every team member is essential. I need every team member to operate a different retirement community than we had just 30 days ago. And we are working very hard to make sure that the team members get the rest. We have a very thoughtful and thorough master leave policy of when team members can tap into their vacation time, their sick leave bank, if they just need time to kind of reconnect with their own domains of well-being, they need an extra day. We have a whole committee devoted to morale called our Spirit Committee. We are doing everything that we can to keep our team well-educated, inspired. We're trying to help people reduce their own anxiety. Speaking of that, one of the most frequently asked questions is, well, Michael, I can't go over to assisted living or the health center to see my loved one or vice versa, but your entire staff are coming into the property when they're outside of Cedarfield. And that is obviously a very true statement. What we intend to publish today to the team members is a very concentrated top 10 list of things that they need to be mindful of when they're outside of Cedarfield. I mentioned to you a few days ago that part of my self-quarantining and social distancing is I'm sleeping upstairs and my wife is sleeping downstairs. And so that is my definition of practice self-quarantining. So we're going to be asking the team members to really look at this top 10 list to make sure that they are doing all that they can in an effort to flatten the curve, physical distancing, and making sure that they're protecting themselves so that when they come to Cedarfield, they're there as best as they can to protect Cedarfield. So with that in mind, no, we're not going to deliver mail on Saturdays. We're just going to do it Monday through Friday, whoever asked that question. So there are no known cases of COVID-19 at Cedarfield at this time. Again, Ann Hopper and Dr. Scheer did a great job of explaining why we are trying to flatten the curve, because we don't want to overload our healthcare system. I just want to again say, I know how difficult these changes are for you. I can assure you, all the team members of Cedarfield miss you immensely. I was talking with Maddie in dining services last night at the hostess stand. And we had a very deep conversation about missing you coming to the hostess stand. We miss you immensely. That's why we work here. Our vocation in life is to serve people 65 years and better. I hope you don't think this is all a punishment. We miss you immensely. You are the reason why we are here. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Trish for some closing spiritual health comments.
Good afternoon, everybody. First, I want to share with you what I read in the news today, which is quite historic. In Jerusalem, at 12:30 Jerusalem time, representatives from the Muslim faith, the Christian faith, and the Jewish faith gathered together in prayer for the world during this crisis. I would ask you to join me at this time. God of all, we ask you to give us compassion, creativity, and flexibility. Unite us all to work together and give us, we ask, just